I love you.
Okay, thank you. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Monday, November 16th, 2020 meeting of the Common Council. It's our caucus prior to our main council meeting. Mr. Pichardo, will you do the honors and call out who's there?
Sure. Let's see. Councilmember Kimbrough, Councilmember Igo, Councilmember Fahey, Councilmember Johnson, Councilmember Farrell, Councilmember Flynn, Councilmember Robinson, Councilmember Love, Councilmember Dochette, Councilmember O'Brien, Councilmember Frederick, Councilmember Hoey, Councilmember Onani, Council President Ellis, from staff, myself, Daniel Gillespie, City Clerk, Michelle Andre, Senior Legislative Aide, and Senior Assistant Corporation Counsel Brett Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Pichardo. Okay, so just jumping right into the agenda for approval of minutes from a previous meeting. We'll have our Monday, November 2nd meeting minutes. I'll be offering for approval. Next on the consideration of the local laws. Local law K will be up for a vote. That's agenda item number 6. The rest of the local laws are held. Then next to ordinances introduced, it's 42-112-20 by finance. It's for the sale of some property up on Beach Ave. It'll be going to finance. That's an intro. Okay. Then next, we'll have an MC by Mr. Conti. It'll be 43-112-20. It got sent out in the email. And it's an ordinance reducing the size of the BZA to get it in accordance with New York General Cities law. They're at 7 members. The law changed a couple of years ago to say that it could be 3 to 5, but there was a waiver in there until the local body, legislative body acted. This is us acting. It'll be going to the planning committee. So that's Mr. Conti's. And for Ms. Fahey, you're wondering about the upcoming planning meeting. I would say go ahead with it because we're having conversations of extending the effective date out. So I think we ought to go ahead with those interviews. Ms. Gillespie?
Okay, thank you. If Mr. Conti is not back on because he was having some connectivity issues, who's going to read it for him, his MC?
I will. I'll do it. Okay. All right. Again, that's 43-112-20. It's an MC by Mr. Conti. Okay, on to ordinances held. There's quite a few. Agenda item number 11 by Mr. Robinson, 1682-20. We voting on that. Agenda item number
22.
Excuse me. Right. Agenda item number 14. It's
Oh, agenda, that's right.
yeah. It's by Ms. Love. We'll be voting on that also. That was 22-101-20. The next agenda item number 16, which is ordinance number 24-101-20 by Ms. Ballerin, Love and Robinson, Mr. Ballerin, Love and Robinson, Ms. Love and Mr. Robinson. Next 17 is mine. It's ordinance 25-101-20. We'll be voting on that. You know what? I might have made a mistake here.
Thought we were voting on yours. I didn't see.
Right, yeah, right. So skip number 16, my apologies. Agenda item 16 is not included. Okay, number 17 is mine. It's 25-101-20. That will be voted on. Next item is 18 by finance, 26-102-20. We'll be voting on that. Next 19, 27-102-20. That's the budget adopting the budget. The next 20 is 28-102, 20 by finance. We'll be voting on that. And then I'll skip ahead. Items or ordinances 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. And then we hold on.
Busy
37.
night for Danielle's voice.
Yes, yes. So, and then from 36, which is agenda item 28, we skip the three the three ordinances that we're waiting on the paving list for, and go to number 32, which is ordinance number 40-102-20. We'll be voting on that. 33, 40, which is 41-102-20, which is finance. We'll be voting on that. And that, oh, excuse me. I already got the,
42.
oh yeah. Okay, no, I did, that's it. We'll go to 40, 41. And then that's it for the ordinances held.
Yes.
Not missing anything, right? No, because I already did that. So next on to resolutions introduced. It'll be red zones 104, 11220 through 109, 11220. They'll be going to planning. Their reappointments to the BZA. Again, those will be referrals to planning. Then next we have two MCs. The first MC is 110, 11220R. We just discussed that. That'll be an MC. Then the second MC resolution is 111, 11220R. That'll also be an MC. Going into our,
Sorry, Kelly.
no problem.
110, 112. Who's the carrier of that?
Finance. It's by finance.
Okay, gotcha.
Their budget. Okay, sorry about that.
At
Yeah,
our
but
budget intent resolution, Kelly?
for,
111.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Right, and 110 was the salaries. So we're good? Okay, then on to resolutions held. You're gonna do the withdrawals right now, Jenny, in this meeting for,
I'd like to, yeah, and
okay,
just get it all, unless
Okay.
there's any issues with that.
nope. So agenda item number 11, which is resolution 96, 10220 is gonna be withdrawn. Agenda item 12 by finance is gonna be withdrawn, which is 97, 102.
I think we start at agenda 10 with the urban planning fund, isn't that?
Yes,
Yeah, isn't that 11? Isn't that agenda item number 11?
it's number 10.
I have it as 10.
I must have an old version of,
Yeah.
okay, so it's resolution 96, 10220. And then the next one is resolution 97, 10220. Those are withdrawn. And 98, 10220 is also withdrawn. And then skip down to 100, 10220. That will also be withdrawn. Okay, and I would like to, and I'll adjust this in the meeting.
But Kelly,
Uh-huh.
I think we are planning on passing 99.102.20 for the reserve
All right,
fund.
yeah, no, it's the
Yes,
IT.
We
Yeah.
are.
That's
Thank
fantastic.
you.
Thank you, Judy, for that. On mine, it's number 14. And I didn't have it highlighted for some reason. And what I also, before getting to the last resolution, our last meeting, I referred resolution 102-11120 to council operations. It's a street renaming. It should have gone to general services. I'll be correcting that during the meeting. In referring it to the proper committee. And then lastly, number excuse me, by finance, it's going to be resolution 103-111-20R. That's on the housing and community development positions. That'll be voted on also. That's the last item I have for our agenda. Yeah, and so we have a couple of additional minutes for, I don't know if you want to go back to the finance conversation or any other members have any questions, comments.
Kelly?
Yep, Tom?
Yeah, the paper street, do I introduce that or will you do that? Or it's 42-112-20?
Yes, that's
No,
you. Too.
that's yours,
Okay,
Mr. Hogue.
thank you.
I got one more question. I wrote it down. Kelly, did you say 4102 ordinances for pass tonight? I don't know why I wrote that down.
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah. And my agenda item, I must have the very first version of this thing because some of the numbers aren't lining up, but the ordinance is 41-102-20.
Yep.
And yes, Judy, you mentioned that is a lot. Danielle, you got your voice. You got some sucrets there with you.
I've been gargling with Listerine all day in anticipation. I'm ready.
Yeah. No, and I'd like to say thank you to the Finance Committee. Every year, you guys do a wonderful job. It's a lot, but you got through it, and that's a good thing. So yeah. So thank you all for that. I would also, and I know we're just in caucus now, remind folks that if you're not seen during the meeting, if you have a picture up or your name up, then was that a setting, Danielle, and you guys fixed it? Go ahead.
No, I just have two additional asks in addition to what you're saying.
What I was saying is that in order to be seen on social media, you have to be seen within the meeting. Otherwise, and you should be seen when voting anyways. And if you're off with a picture up or your name up, you're invisible. And then on social media, you kind of pop in when you turn your video on, and then you pop back out, which is maybe a little confusing for folks. So if you can, please keep the video on. Go ahead, Danielle.
My two asks are, I sent out a couple different emails, one pertaining to updating emergency contact information. If you haven't responded yet, if you could please respond with your updated emergency contact information, and a thank you to those who have. I also sent out reminders regarding the mandatory compliance training and where you are in the different trainings that you are required to complete. So if people could respond to those emails, and if anyone needs help or they need access to the training room or they want to do something in-house, please let me know and I'll work with our IT department and our Chief Diversity Officer to coordinate.
Right, and I would say it's pretty
Ask
easy.
for help on those, Danielle. I want to get them done before they shut me off, cut me out.
Yeah,
I know I started one and then I didn't finish and then I lost the link and I haven't been able to go back. So I'll take the hit. I'm in fault, but if you can help me get that completed, I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely, Council Member
Yeah.
Ballard. I'll reach out to you offline.
Right,
no.
and most folks could do that through the LinkedIn Learning. It's fairly easy, but also remember that if you work for another agency where you already did the sexual harassment training, you don't have to do it again. You just submit your certificate for, like I also work for the county, so I
Can do that?
to submit that to cover
Okay.
it. Yeah, so you don't have to take it multiple times, but the other trainings that are part of the packet, you do.
Yeah, I took those. I just didn't. Yep. All right.
Yeah, Kelly, there's some you have to do yearly, they told me. That's why I did them all over again.
Yeah, no, you should. The sexual harassment you have to do yearly, but if you get it from one job and
Right.
not your council, then you don't have to sit for the hour to retake it, which was helpful.
A third ask, I also sent out an email regarding protecting our network and responding and reading the emails and clicking on links. If people haven't had the opportunity to see it or it was lost, I can resend it. Thank you.
Right, do we have does our IT people do the challenges or test people? Because like
Yeah.
at the county, they do.
They
yeah,
do
they test
challenges,
it.
and I think that maybe a couple of people that may be participating tonight didn't fare as well as our IT department would like to see. So as a reminder, if everyone could practice good internet hygiene and cybersecurity hygiene.
So what I would say, folks do get feedback, correct, from IT when they.
I don't know if they do individual feedback. They may reach out to the departments or, yeah, they typically reach out to the departments and let them know that where there's a particular concern so it can be addressed.
Yeah, we might want to try to get on the like direct feedback in the moment. As soon as you click that link or you screw up, I think making people aware of the danger would be more helpful than talking to the department. Just my 2 cents.
So are you telling me the guy that keeps emailing me saying he's got $500,000 for me doesn't really have that $500,000?
He's not your cousin. I
Come
don't need
on.
a Target gift card or a Dunkin' Donuts gift card for $500.
I will tell you that the mayor, if she's going to want a gift card, she's probably going to email you in really weird, hacked up English.
Yeah. Yes.
Danielle, I'm not getting those emails, just so you know. Whenever there's a large email going out to a very large group from the city, for whatever reason, I don't get them. I don't have I have a Yahoo address. And that they had tried to correct that at one point, but I'm not receiving them.
All right, I'll resend all of the emails to you and I'll put a delivery receipt just so that I can confirm that they're hitting their mailbox and then I'll call you around the time I send them.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Kathy, I have a city account. I set it up and you can automatically forward everything. Have you tried to do that? Because they will use especially the IT people will use your city.
Yes, I need to do that. Set up the city account. I haven't done it.
I will say it is important to double check the city count when you have it forward, because I would say 2 out of every 100 don't get forwarded for some reason.
Especially if they have big attachments. That is where there's often a problem, at least for an ICAP.
I always felt like it was, especially if they're important, because that's what it like, of course, this important one didn't get forwarded.
And also, just a heads up, the mayor will be with us for public comment. So Danielle, can you move her to the front to make those comments and then. we'll move on.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Okay. It's a little quiet time.
Reflection time. Zen.
Yes, right. Yeah. Tom, are you in the car? No, don't mind me. Just,
Why do you have to shout him out? How many times does everybody else do that?
when I'm in the car, I just put it on driving mode and just worry about talking and not being seen. Got to focus on driving. See the chat. Where are you?
Houston is now 7 p.m.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Madam Clerk. It is now 7 o'clock, and we will start tonight's November 16, 2020 Common Council meeting. Can the clerk please call the roll?
Yes, Mr. President, if all members could unmute themselves so that they could respond to their names. Anani.
Present.
2020 Common Council meeting.
Ballard.
Can the clerk please call the roll?
Yeah.
Conti. Doshette.
Here,
Fahey.
Here,
Farrell.
Here,
Flynn.
Here.
Frederick.
here,
Hoey.
Present.
Igo.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Kimbrough.
Here.
Love. O'Brien.
Here.
Robinson.
Present.
14 members present, 1 absent.
Thank you. And now, Madam Clerk, if you just put up the flag so we can do the Pledge of Allegiance. And then after the Pledge of Allegiance, we'll have a quick moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you. Now we'll move on to our public comment period. And we do have the mayor. She would like to speak on public comment. So Mayor Kathy Sheehan.
Thank you, President Ellis. I appreciate the opportunity to address the council. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I appreciate the opportunity to address the council. And I just wanted to thank you all for the diligence and the consideration that you have provided as we have reviewed the upcoming budget. As you all know, this was a really challenging year, and it wasn't supposed to be this way. Because of the hard work of the members of this council, we have come together and we have made difficult decisions, and sometimes unpopular but necessary decisions. I recall in 2014, a number of you gathering with me as we talked about the challenges that the city was facing, and the advice and the counsel that you provided to me. Richard, Joe, Judy, Michael, Kelly, Kathy, all of you who were there during those really, really challenging years where we had to make very difficult decisions. And I appreciate the hard work and the advice and your willingness to stand firm and do all that we could to put the city on sound financial grounds. And because of the work that you all did and the leadership that you demonstrated, we succeeded. We should have been presenting a 2021 budget that not only included the ability to purchase more of our capital expenses out of our operating budget, something that many of you have advocated for, but we could have been delivering a tax reduction to our residents. And that was not to be, but we are in much better fiscal shape because of the hard work that preceded this year. And it put us in the position, as challenging as this budget is, as much as it's not what we wanted it to be, but it put us in a position to be able to save jobs, save livelihoods, and continue essential city services. And so I'm grateful to you. I'm grateful to Judy for your leadership of the Finance Committee through many of those bleak years. and to Ginny for your leadership as we have gone through this process, and for all of the work that each and every one of you have done to get us to a 2021 budget. We have some optimism now that we think we have the opportunity to get some revenue relief from Washington. I will continue to fight for it. And I also want to make sure that I say that the reason that we are where we are today as well is because you have all stood by my side as we have fought for capital city funding. And our budget would not be possible without that funding. And I believe that we have demonstrated that when we work together, we're able to accomplish incredible things for our residents and for our community. So thank you very much for your hard work. Thank you for all of the good questions that you've asked about this budget, the help that you've made, the help that you've given to shape it to where it is today, and for the work that you have done to move our community forward and find ways that we can come together to save jobs and save essential city services. So thank you to all of you for your leadership.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. And now we'll move on to our public comment period. Anybody, public comment, you have 5 minutes to talk about any subject you wish to talk about this evening. At the 4-minute mark, I will let you know that you have 1 minute remaining for your public comment. But before you comment, just please tell us your name and your address, your location. Also, during this public comment period, members cannot answer your questions or respond to your questions. If members choose to do so, respond to any of your public comment, they will do it at a later time during our agenda. So with that being said, Madam Clerk, can you please call the first speaker? We have one.
Mr. President, we do not have any speakers.
Okay. None, no write-in comments either?
We have no written comments either.
Okay, and we don't have anybody in the queue, so, all right. That being said, public comment period is closed at this moment. And moving on to minutes of previous meetings, Mr. Kimbrough. Approval of meeting.
Thank you, Mr. President. I offer meeting minutes from our Monday, November 2nd, 2020 meeting for approval.
Thank you. Is there a second on the motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Minutes approved. I see hands. Minutes approved. Now moving on to considerations of local laws. Ms. Farrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I notice local law K and ask for its passage and a roll call vote there.
Thank you. Can the clerk please read the local law?
Yes, Mr. President. A local law amending Section 3 of Article 1 of Chapter 313 of Part 2 of the Code of the City of Albany in relation to billing of the fee for curbside collection of waste.
Is there any discussion on the local law? Seeing none, can the clerk please call the roll?
Anani.
Yes.
Halloran.
Yes.
Doshette.
Yes.
Fahey.
Yes.
Farrell.
Yes.
Flynn.
Yes.
Frederick.
Yes.
Hoey.
Yes.
Igo.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Kimbrough.
Yes.
Love.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
That's 14 in the affirmative.
Thank you. Local law passes. Moving on to ad hoc committees or committee reports. Start with Ms. Farrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have had several meetings between last meeting and this one. We discussed bonding ordinances and passed the budget resolution through our committee. I will be acting on each of those actions this evening. And we had a lot of hard work over the last 6 weeks with 17 meetings just based on finance. And I'd like to officially, I've said many thank yous, but I would like to officially thank people.
Down the road or not? Because they're going to.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Robinson?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I just want to give a reminder that the Human Resources Human Rights Committee will be meeting this Wednesday, November 18th at 5:30 p.m. to discuss Ordinance 24.101.20.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson. Ms. Fahey?
Thank you, Mr. President. The Planning and Economic Development Committee will be meeting this Thursday, the 19th, to discuss the appointments and reappointments to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Thank you, Ms. Fahey. Ms. Duche?
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to let people know that Faye Andrews has been in touch with me regarding preparations for putting together next year's community development budget. And they will be sending out a survey electronically in the near future. And then we'll be putting together an RFP shortly thereafter, and I will be sharing that information with the rest of the council as those steps occur. And then we will be making a determination as to when to hold a meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Duche. Seeing that there is Mr. Kimbrough, is that your hand? Yes, go ahead, Mr.
Yes,
Kimbrough.
thank you, Mr. President. The Public Safety Committee met Thursday, November 5th to discuss our police reform legislation. Had a pretty good meeting. Members of the public, CPRB, police department. There were a few amendments thrown out there, so we're working on those right now. We'll be having a follow-up meeting next month. We will also on November 30th, Monday, November 30th, we'll be meeting to interview candidates for the Community Police Review Board. And on December 9th and 10th, we'll be meeting to interview candidates for the City of Albany Violence Prevention Task Force. That's on December 9th and 10th. It's a large group, so we had to split them into 2 days. And lastly, December 14th will be that follow-up meeting for the police reforms, that legislation. That'll be the follow-up discussion for that. It'll be December 14th at 5:30. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kimbrough. Seeing that there's no other committee reports, we're going to move on to ordinances. Consideration of ordinances. First, we'll start off with ordinance introduced. Mr. Hoey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I noticed ordinance 42-112-20 and ask for it to be referred. Thank you.
Introduced. Thank you. Can the clerk please read the ordinance?
An ordinance of the Common Council authorizing the sale to Yili Shkalaku of city-owned land bordering 39 Beach Avenue, 51 Beach Avenue, 54 Fountain Avenue, and 48 Fountain Avenue.
Thank you. Mr. Kimbrough.
Thank you, Mr. President. There'll be a referral to Finance.
And staying with you, Mr. Kimbrough, since Mr. Conti has power outage in his neighborhood, will you do the introduction of his ordinance?
Yes, I'll start by asking the council if we can add ordinance 43-112-20 by majority consent.
Let's see, sorry. Is there a second on the motion? Yes, second. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Mr. Kimbrough.
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of Mr. Conti, I noticed ordinance number 43-112-20 and ask for its intro.
Can the clerk please read the ordinance?
An ordinance amending Article You're gonna have to help me with this one.
Article, what do you need to?
It's XLVI.
Oh, I don't have it in front of me. See, this is why we need paper.
I think is that 46?
I think, yeah,
46.
yeah, that would be 46.
An ordinance amending Article 46 of Part 35 of Chapter 42 of the Code of the City of Albany in relation to conforming the size of the Board of Zoning Appeals with the New York State General City Law.
Mr. Kimbrough?
Thank you, Mr. President. There'll be a referral to planning.
Thank you, sir. Then we'll continue on to ordinances held. Mr. Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I notice ordinance 16.82.20 and ask for its passage.
Thank you. Can the clerk please read the ordinance?
An ordinance of the Common Council authorizing the sale to William Chapman of a city-owned vacant lot at 109 3rd Street.
Is there a discussion on this ordinance? Seeing none, can the clerk please call the roll?
Anani,
Did he get bumped off? Oh, there he is.
Valorem,
Yes.
Doshette,
Yes.
Fahey,
Yes.
Farrell,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Frederick,
Yes.
Hoey,
Yes.
Igo,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Kimbrough,
Yes.
Love,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
14 in the affirmative.
Motion, ordinance passes. Continuing on with ordinances held, Ms. Love.
Thank you, Mr. President. I noticed ordinance 22.101.20 and ask for its passage.
Thank you, Ms. Love. Can the clerk please read the ordinance?
An ordinance of the Common Council authorizing the sale of the sale to Thomas Lacy of city-owned land at 47 First Street.
And I believe this is the ordinance Mrs. Duche will be not participating in, correct?
That's correct. I am recusing myself. from this vote.
Thank you, Ms. Duche. So is there any discussion around the ordinance? Seeing none, can the clerk please call the roll?
Anani,
Yes.
Valorem,
Yes.
Fahey,
Yes.
Farrell,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Frederick,
Yes.
Hoey,
Yes.
Igo,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Kimbrough,
Yes.
Just
Love.
give me a second.
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
It's 13 in the affirmative.
Thank you. Ordinance passes. Continuing on with ordinances held, Mr. Kimbrough.
Can you hear me?
Yep, can hear you now.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. President. I know this ordinance 25-101-20 and ask for its passage.
Thank you, Mr. Kimbrough. Clerk, please read the ordinance.
An ordinance of the Common Council authorizing the sale to Daniel Cadalso of city-owned land at 2 Genesee Street.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, can the clerk please call the roll?
Anani,
Yes.
Valorem,
Yes.
Doshette,
Yes.
Fahey,
Yes.
Farrell,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Frederick,
Yes.
Hoey,
Yes.
Igo,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Kimbrough,
Yes.
Love,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
14 in the affirmative.
Ordinance passes. Thank you. Continuing on with ordinances held, Ms. Farrell?
Thank you, Mr. President. I notice ordinance number 27.102.20 as amended and ask for its passage and a roll call vote therein.
Can the clerk please read the ordinance?
An ordinance adopting the budget is presented by the mayor on October 1st, 2020 for fiscal year 2021.
Any discussion on the ordinance? Seeing none, can the clerk please call the roll?
Anani,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Doshett, Doshett,
I see her saying yes, but
Yes, thank you.
Fahey,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Frederick,
Yes.
Hoey,
Yes.
Igo,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Yes.
Love,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Mr. President,
yes.
is 26-102-20 up for a vote this evening as well?
Yes, it is. She did skip over that, yes. To all those in affirmative, ordinance passes. Now going back to ordinance 26-101. Mrs. Farrell?
That is Kimbrough.
Oh, is it
I
Kimbrough?
don't think
It's
that's,
finance. I got finance.
although I'm happy to do it if Kelly.
It's mine.
It's yours?
Yeah. Yeah, that's on there wrong. Okay, thank you, Mr. President. I know this resolution, ordinance 26-102-20 and ask for its passage.
Thank you. Can the clerk read the ordinance, please?
An ordinance authorizing and directing the grant to General Distilling LLC of an easement in the city of Albany over a portion of the city right-of-way to Livingston Avenue for the construction of an ADA compliant ramp.
Is there any discussion on this ordinance? Seeing none, can the clerk please call the roll?
Anani,
Yes.
Halloran,
Yes.
Doshett,
Yes.
Fahey,
Yes.
Farrell,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Frederick,
Yes.
Hoey,
Yes.
Igo,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Kimbrough,
Yes.
Love, O'Brien,
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
That's 14 in the affirmative.
Ordinance passes. Continuing on with ordinances held. Ms. Farrell?
Thank you, Mr. President. I notice ordinance number 34.102.20 and ask for its passage.
Can the clerk please read the ordinance?
Sorry, was that 34-102-20?
Yes.
We skipped some.
What about?
Oh, you know what? I'm so sorry, guys. I skipped a whole page. I'm on 28.
Can we do 28 through?
Yeah, so I will get to that ordinance later, but first I would like to notice ordinance number 28.102.20 and ask for its passage.
Thank you. Can the clerk please read the ordinance?
An ordinance authorizing certain purchases by the city of Albany, New York at a maximum estimated cost of $4,281,956.
Is there any discussion?
The lease financing or the issuance of $4,281,956 of serial bonds of said city to pay the cost thereof.
Is there any discussion on the ordinance? Seeing none, can the clerk please call the roll?
I'm sorry, Corey.
I see your
I
hand. Go
do,
ahead.
I do think that when we're reading this, it is important to read what's in parentheses, at least to give the public some notice of what we're spending $4 million for. And this is for DGS vehicles.
Okay. So Madam Clerk, can you please read the DGS equipment or vehicle? Thank you. Thank you.
We didn't vote on the DGS vehicles yet.
No.
It was just read for the notice of the vote.
Yes.
So now we need to vote.
Yes. I know.
Sorry for confusing
No,
you.
I'm not confused. I'm just looking at my laptop here, tablet. Good. So no discussion on this? I don't see any hands. Can the clerk please call the roll?
Nani,
Yes.
Valorant,
Yes.
Wiltshire,
Yes.
Fahey,
Yes.
Farrell,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Frederick,
Yes.
Hoey,
Yes.
Igo,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Kimbrough,
Yes.
Love,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
That's 14 in the affirmative.
Thank you. Ordinance passes. Continuing with ordinance, Ms. Farrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I notice ordinance number 29.102.20 and ask for its passage.
Can the clerk please read the ordinance?
An ordinance authorizing certain purchases by the city of Albany, New York at a maximum estimated cost of $392,000 and authorizing the lease, financing, or the issuance of $392,000 serial bonds of said city to pay the cost thereof, and parentheses, that's DGS equipment.
Thank you. Any discussion on the ordinance? Seeing none, can the clerk please call the roll?
Anani,
Yes.
Valorant,
Yes.
Doshette,
Yes.
Fahey,
Yes.
Farrell,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Frederick,
Yes.
Hoey,
Yes.
Igo,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Kimbrough,
Yes.
Love,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
That's 14 in the affirmative.
Ordinance passes. Ms. Farrell?
Thank you, Mr. President. I notice ordinance number 30.102.20 and ask for its passage.
Can the clerk please read the ordinance?
An ordinance authorizing certain purchases by the city of Albany, New York at a maximum estimated cost of $285,000 and authorizing the lease, financing, or the issuance of $285,000 serial bonds of said city to pay the cost thereof, recreation, playgrounds.
Any discussion on this ordinance? Ms. Duche?
Yes, I just want to comment that I'm very pleased with this further investment in our neighborhood parks. I want to note that in addition to the amount that we are borrowing, the budget contains $245,000 for in capital cash for further improvements to our neighborhood parks. And I also want to note, I'm very pleased that this that is in addition to the money that is going to be invested in Lincoln Park this year. And I've lived in the city for 45 years, and I've always been a little dismayed that we haven't paid a little bit more attention to Lincoln Park. So I think it's $1.9 million in addition that we will be authorizing the bonding for Lincoln Park, a lot of which is reimbursable. So that's a huge investment in our parks. And in these days, in my neighborhood, I am witnessing more people than ever taking advantage of our small park out there every single day. The equipment in my park is full. The kids are pouring over into other play space like I've never seen before. And it is one of the really wonderful things that we can offer people in our city in these difficult times is some safe outdoor space to play and get some fresh air.
Thank you, Mr. Shea. Any further comments? Seeing none, can a clerk please call the roll?
Anani,
Yes.
Halloran,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Fahey,
Yes.
Farrell,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Frederick,
Yes.
Hoey,
Yes.
Igo,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Kimbrough,
Yes.
Love,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
14 in the affirmative.
Ordinance passes. Continue on, Mrs. Farrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I noticed ordinance number 31.1022.20 as amended, and I want to just make sure that the clerk is reading the amended version. The amount should be 1,050,050 and not 350.
Yeah, that's the one I have.
I have several different versions of paper, and I just wanted to confirm before we officially read it in. Thank you.
Thank you. Can the clerk please read the ordinance?
An ordinance authorizing certain purchases by the city of Albany, New York at a maximum estimated cost of $1,050,000 and authorizing the lease financing or the issuance of $1,050,000 serial bonds of said city to pay the cost thereof for fire, and that's fire apparatus.
Any discussion? Ms. Boucher?
Yes, I want to note that our budget amendments that we the budget ordinance that we just passed contained amendments that reflect the reduction in the request from the fire department for the bonding for this by $300,000. I want to be clear that that does not reflect a lack of support for the purchase of a fire truck. It simply reflects prudent fiscal management in that the fire department, it was determined that the fire department had $300,000 in an outstanding bond for a ladder truck that we could put forward to this and therefore reduce our bonding by an equivalent amount this year. I really appreciate the work that the budget department and the administration has done in working with us to address some of these issues with regard to our capital spending and clamping down and make sure that we're not borrowing more than is need be. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shea. Any further discussion? Seeing none, can a clerk please call the roll?
Nani,
Yes.
Halloran,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Fahey,
Yes.
Farrell,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Frederick,
Yes.
Hoey,
Yes.
Igo,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Kimbrough,
Yes.
Love,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
14 in the affirmative.
Ordinance passes. Ms. Farrell?
Thank you, Mr. President. I notice ordinance number 32.102.20 and ask for its passage.
Can the clerk please read the ordinance?
An ordinance authorizing certain purchases by the city of Albany, New York at a maximum estimated cost of $350,000 and authorizing the lease financing or the issuance of $350,000 serial bonds of said city to pay the cost thereof. Traffic engineering, Lincoln Park intersections.
Is there any discussion on this ordinance? Seeing none, can the clerk please call the roll?
Anani,
Yes.
Halloran,
Yes.
Doshett,
Yes.
Fahey,
Yes.
Farrell,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Frederick,
Yes.
Hoey,
Yes.
Igo,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Kimbrough,
Yes.
Love,
yes,
O'Brien,
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
That's 14 in the affirmative.
Ordinance passes. Ms. Farrell?
Thank you, Mr. President. I notice ordinance number 33.102.20 and ask for its passage.
Thank you. Can the clerk please read the ordinance?
An ordinance authorizing certain purchases by the city of Albany, New York at a maximum estimated cost of $564,000 and authorizing the lease financing or the issuance of $564,000 serial bonds of said city to pay the cost thereof. APD, Intervid Surveillance System, Phase 3 of project install.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, can the clerk please call the roll?
Anani,
Yes.
Halloran,
Yes.
Doshett,
Yes.
Fahey,
Yes.
Farrell,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Frederick,
Yes.
Hoey,
Yes.
Igo,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Kimbrough,
Yes.
Love,
yes,
O'Brien,
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
14 in the affirmative.
Ordinance passes. Ms. Farrell?
Thank you, Mr. President. I notice ordinance number 34.102.20 and ask for its passage.
Thank you. Can the clerk please read the ordinance?
An ordinance authorizing certain purchases by the city of Albany, New York at a maximum estimated cost of $350,000 and authorizing the lease financing or the issuance of $350,000 serial bonds of said city to pay the cost thereof. Planning South End Connector Phase 2.
Is there any discussion on this ordinance? Ms. Farrell?
I just wanted to note that that this is a fully reimbursable grant funded project that we will get reimbursed for.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Farrell. Ms. Duche?
Yes, thanks for that information. I just want to say that I'm very pleased with what has been done already on this connector trail, and I know a lot of people are really enjoying it. I want to make sure everybody understands that this is to help pay for additional amenities and features and signage, et cetera, along the South End Connector Trail to make it an even more enjoyable and safe experience for people who are using that in this day when people are using bikes as a form of recreation and transportation. I think we're seeing a resurgence in the use of bicycles. And this is, again, another wonderful benefit that we're providing to residents. And I encourage residents to reach out to the planning department with their ideas. They've been having quote unquote public meetings, but they need as much input as possible and everything is welcomed.
Thank you. Ms. Fredericks?
Thank you. I would just like to express my gratitude for this investment into the South End Connector. I think it's a great effort in trying to make our city go green, and I appreciate the investment. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Fredericks. Further discussion? Seeing none, can the clerk please call the roll?
Nani,
Yes.
Halloran,
Yes.
Doshett,
Yes.
Fahey,
Yes.
Farrell,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Frederick,
Yes.
Hoey,
Yes.
Igo,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Kimbrough,
Yes.
Love,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
That's 14 in the affirmative.
Ordinance passes. Ms. Farrell?
Thank you, Mr. President. I notice ordinance number 35.102.20 and ask for its passage.
An ordinance authorizing certain purchases by the city of Albany, New York at a maximum estimated cost of $255,000 and authorizing the lease financing or the issuance of $255,000 serial bonds of said city to pay the cost thereof. Planning, Hudson River Waterfront Gateway.
Any discussion on the ordinance? Ms. Farrell?
I just want to note that this is also a grant-funded project that is fully refundable.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, can a clerk please call the roll?
Anani,
Yes.
Bauman,
Yes.
Doshett,
Yes.
Fahey,
Yes.
Farrell,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Frederick,
Yes.
Hoey,
Yes.
Igo,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Kimbrough,
Yes.
Love,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
That's 14 in the affirmative.
Ordinance passes. Ms. Farrell?
Thank you, Mr. President. I notice ordinance number 36.102.20 and ask for its passage.
Can the clerk please read the ordinance?
An ordinance authorizing certain purchases by the city of Albany, New York at a maximum estimated cost of $300,000 and authorizing the lease financing, issuance of $300,000 serial bonds of said city to pay the cost thereof, planning, brownfield opportunity area, and local waterfront revitalization plan.
Ms. Farrell?
I just want to note that this bond as well is a grant-funded project and will be reimbursed.
Any further discussions? Seeing none, can the clerk please call the roll?
Anani,
Yes.
Valorem,
Yes.
Doshett,
Yes.
Fahey,
Yes.
Farrell,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Frederick,
Yes.
Hoey,
Yes.
Igo,
He's mouthing yes.
saying yes to the record. Johnson,
Yes.
Kimbrough,
Yes.
Love,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
14 in the affirmative.
Ordinance passes. Ms. Farrell?
Thank you, Mr. President. I notice ordinance number 40.102.20 and ask for its passage.
Did I hear? Okay, can the clerk please read the ordinance?
An ordinance authorizing certain purchases by the city of Albany, New York at a maximum estimated cost of $2,850,000 and authorizing the lease financing of the issuance of $2,850,000 serial bonds of said city to pay the cost thereof, engineering renovations to city buildings.
Okay, well, is that the correct number? Because my number is 37. 3 million.
Some of those were held, I believe 37, 38, and 39 were held.
Gotcha. Okay. Is there any discussion on this ordinance? Seeing none, can the clerk please call the roll?
Nani,
Yes.
Valorem,
Yes.
Doshett,
Yes.
Fahey,
Yes.
Farrell,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Frederick,
Yes.
Bowie,
Yes.
Igo,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Kimbrough,
Yes.
Love,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
14 in the affirmative.
Ordinance passes. Guess we're done with our ordinances.
Oh, no, we have one more.
And what, oh, 41. See, I can't
Yes.
read my own writing. Sorry, can't read my own
Don't
writing.
forget that one. That's for the Lincoln Park project as well.
That's why I need
Um,
that's why I need a paper in front of me. I mean, I can't read my own writing. I need the regular agenda paper. Okay, Ms. Farrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I notice ordinance number 41.102.20 and ask for its passage.
Thank you. Can the clerk please read the ordinance?
An ordinance authorizing certain purchases by the city of Albany, New York at a maximum estimated cost of $1,900,000 and authorizing the lease, financing, or the issuance of $1,900,000 serial bonds of said city to pay the cost thereof. Engineering, Lincoln Park project.
Ms. Fahey.
Thank you, Mr. President. Councilmember Doche touched on this earlier. This project to put in an amphitheater on the hillside of Lincoln Park, and this is the upper section of Lincoln Park. This will be of tremendous benefit to the 7th Ward in particular, but truly for the entire city of Albany. As Councilmember Doche pointed out, Lincoln Park is really, it's such a fabulous park, but I think a lot of folks feel that it's been underutilized. And as you all know, we've developed a Lincoln Park master plan. I guess that was a couple of years ago now, and we're taking steps to make that, to realize that plan. This amphitheater brings the arts in, and there's the potential for so much spin-off economic development as a result. There's housing projects that have started and stopped, developers interested in different parcels not too far from this section of Lincoln Park. And I can't help but think that, we're going to have further development in there as a result of this. And it's just going to benefit everyone in that area as well as the whole city. I mean, parks, as Councilmember Doche pointed out, that it's really one of the most cost-effective types of development we can have here in the city. You get a tremendous bang for your buck. So I am particularly excited about this one. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fahey. I thought I saw Ms. Farrell's hand up. Go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to note that $450,000 of this was a grant and will be reimbursed.
Thank you. Mr. Anani?
Yes, I just want to echo the sentiments of my colleague, Kathy Fahey. This is a huge investment into Lincoln Park. As many of you know, I represent the Pine Hills neighborhood, but I frequent in many parks all across the city. And, when we look at parks, it represents the direction that the city is going. So you have a park that is not looking good, is a reflection of how the city is looking. And I want to commend the mayor, actually, over the past couple of years, really have made an intentional commitment in improving parks all across our city. And I'm excited, I wish $2 million was coming to Richfield, but I'm excited that Lincoln Park is getting this $2 million, and many people all across our city will benefit from this crucial investment. So, I just want to echo, sentiment of my colleagues. This is a huge investment that is going to be made in Lincoln Park. And as a Shakespeare fan, I can't wait to see some of the plays that will be at the new amphitheater. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Ms. Fredericks?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just also want to echo the sentiments of Councilmember Fahey and say I'm very appreciative of this investment. This is going to be great for our city. In addition to the amphitheater, there's going to be increased pedestrian safety measures put into play, as well as new fitness equipment as well. So definitely a lot of resources that can be used by the community surrounding. Great for the 7th Ward, great for the neighbors in the 1st Ward, and also great investment for the entire city. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, can the clerk call the roll?
Anani,
Yes, co-sponsor, please.
Ballerin,
Yes, please.
Conti, Conti,
Yeah, there he is. There's Richard.
Get it back, hey.
you don't have
Can't
any.
hear him. He gave his thumbs up. He's unmuted, but we still can't hear him, but he gave his thumbs up.
He's in that council chamber.
Doshett,
Yes, co-sponsor, please.
Fahey,
Yes, co-sponsor, please.
Farrell,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Frederick,
Yes, co-sponsor.
Hoey,
Yes.
Igo,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Kimbrough,
Yes.
Love,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
15 in the affirmative.
Ordinance passes. Done with our ordinances for this evening. So we're going to be moving on to introduction of resolutions. And for the first introduction of the resolutions, Ms. Fahey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I notice Resolution 104, 112, 20R, 105, 112. Can I do all of them?
Yes, you can.
Okay. 105, 112, 20R, 106, 112, 20R, 107, 112, 20R, 108, 112, 20R, and 109, 112, 20R for introduction.
Thank you. Can the clerk please read the resolutions introduced?
Yes, Mr. President. Resolution of the Common Council consenting to the reappointment of Richard Berkeley to the Board of Zoning Appeals. Resolution of the Common Council consenting to the reappointment of Serena Joyce White Lake to the Board of Zoning Appeals. Resolution of the Common Council consenting to the reappointment of Martin Daly to the Board of Zoning Appeals. Resolution of the Common Council consenting to the appointment of Richa Rice Guile to the Board of Zoning Appeals. Resolution of the Common Council consenting to the appointment of Paige Barnum to the Board of Zoning Appeals. Resolution of the Common Council consenting to the appointment of Jeff Quain to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Mr. Kimbrough?
Thank you, Mr. President. They're all referred to planning.
Thank you. Continue on the resolution introduced. Mr. Kimbrough?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I make a motion to add by majority consent resolutions 110, 112, 20, and 111, 112, 20.
We have a second on that motion?
Second.
Second by Mr. Robinson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. So with 110, 112, Ms. Farrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I noticed resolution 110, 112, 20R and ask for its passage.
Can the clerk please read the resolution?
Resolution of the Common Council consenting to an adjustment in salary for certain positions for the 2021 budget.
Is there any discussion on this resolution? Ms. Duche?
Sorry, for anybody who is tuning in here, I want to note that the resolution, the sponsor's memo, has an explanation of the adjustments that we are making. The bulk of it is as a result of us getting some additional HUD funding, and we are creating, I believe it's 5 positions that we will also be creating via a resolution for the end of 2020, shortly at the end of this meeting. There's also an adjustment that was intended to be made before the introduction of the budget, as far as I understand, to increase the salary of one of the people in the planning department to become a senior planner. And I fully support that. That department, I think, is generally understaffed and underpaid. And I also want to note that while it looks like we are increasing the mayor's salary, what we are doing is what we are legally required to do. We cannot through the budget process reduce the mayor's salary that is established in the code. City charter prohibits us from making that cut through the budget process. So we are restoring her salary to the full amount. And then the mayor can still do what she plans to do, which is to reduce her, only take the lower amount that is the equivalent to $15 per hour. And that's her doing so voluntarily, and that's within her prerogative. So I just wanted to provide that kind of clarification. I meant also when we were passing the budget ordinance to mention that we are also increasing the salary of our staff. And they desperately, they very much deserve the increases that we have provided to them. This year has been an extraordinarily difficult time for us as a council and our staff. And they have helped us meet seamlessly throughout this time by becoming adept through the use of electronics and Zoom, providing us with records on the spot, etc. It's been noted that our senior legislative aide has also helped increase our presence in social media greatly, which is very much appreciated. And our research council has been coming up to speed, really great on learning a lot about the general municipal law, doing a lot of outreach, doing a lot of research for us. And we have noticed that his salary would be the lowest salary of any attorney in the city. And we want to make sure that we don't lose him. And I note that the mayor's budget included increases for many of the staff members in the Corporation Counsel's office in recognition of them losing staff to competitive agencies, state agencies, and other entities. And so we are providing that increase to make his staff more comparable to people with similar experience and providing similar kinds of services, and to recognize the quality of the services being provided. And that's true of the quality of the services being provided by both of our staff members who have really, truly helped us as a body survive these COVID times admirably. And for me, their work has been very much appreciated.
Thank you, Ms. Duche. Any further comments? Seeing none, can the clerk please call the roll?
Anani,
Yes, co-sponsor.
Valorem,
Co-sponsor, please.
Conti, Mr. Conti, I'm sorry. Yes?
Yeah, Richard, you're unmuted, but no sound.
Doshette,
Yes.
Fahey,
Yes, co-sponsor, please.
Farrell,
Yes, co-sponsor, please.
Flynn,
Yes, co-sponsor.
Frederick,
Yes, co-sponsor, please.
Hoey,
Yes, co-sponsor, please.
Igo,
Yes. Co-sponsor.
Johnson,
Yes.
Kimbrough,
Yes, co-sponsor, please.
Love,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes, co-sponsor.
Robinson,
Yes, co-sponsor.
affirmative.
Resolution passes. Continuing on, Ms. Farrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I notice resolution 111, 112, 20R and ask for its passage.
Thank you. Can the clerk please read the resolution?
Resolution of the Common Council outlining its actions and expressing its findings and intent concerning the City of Albany 2021 budget as proposed in Ordinance 27-10220.
Any discussion on the resolution? Ms. Farrell?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to give a brief, this is the Common Council's budget intent resolution where we weigh in on the mayor's budget. And to just note a few items in here. We first and foremost note the pandemic and its impact on the budget, and the situation that we would be in, as the mayor stated in public comment, would be very different were it not for the pandemic. For across the board in the council, ensuring infrastructure is very important. So we know roads, sidewalks, upkeep and improvement are very important. Our parks are important to all of us, and ensuring those important infrastructures are invested in is something we are seeing in this budget, but we are always hearing from our constituents that is something that we need more of, especially in the winter with streets. We fully support the mayor's endeavor for Albany's fair share, the $12.5 million in capital city funding. It is our hope that there won't be any impacts from the pandemic in the state budget, and that we're able to get some relief, but regardless, we're fully in support of this. We also believe, because of potential issues that could happen with revenue, that we'd like to have regular updates and input from the administration to make sure that we as a council are monitoring the situation and are able to respond quickly to any needs that may arise for our constituents and the city as a whole. We also wanted to note that the police reform budget will likely impact the budget, and so we are prepared to look and see. We expect there to be differences with that as that process moves forward and as the process of our own public safety committee moves forward, and we're ready and willing to work with the administration for any changes that might happen with that. We fully support the summer youth employment program. Because of the pandemic, that did have impacts on that this year, and it is our hope that that is fully funded in the future and continues in the same robust manner that it has in the past. The comparable salary analysis that was supposed to happen last year was stalled because of the pandemic. Leadership has been in touch with the mayor's office on this, and they are committed to moving forward with it as the pandemic allows. But we do note how important it is to make sure that our salaries are fair across the board for everybody that works for the city. We want to ensure the violence prevention task force funding that's in there. That is a process as well. And we do understand that that's a process, but that may also be something that needs to be added to the budget. And again, we want to work with the administration on that. In the 2020 budget intent resolution, we noted the importance of a housing vacancy study to determine the City of Albany's eligibility to opt into the Emergency Tenant Protection Act. We continue to think this is an important thing that should be done. Senior services is an issue across the board and across the city in every single ward. We appreciate our Parks and Rec department investing in these programs, and but it's just a note that we appreciate this move forward, but would like to continue this move forward. And we are very excited about much needed community center in West Hill, but note that a South End community center is also important. So that's the basic pieces. There's a few other bits, but of our budget intent resolution. And that's all I have right now.
Thank you. Mr. O'Brien?
And we're also asking, as we did last year, that the budget intent resolution be included as part of the final bound document constituting the City of Albany's 2021 budget. For some reason, that was omitted last year, but hopefully this year our budget intent resolution will find its way into the final bound copy.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Mr. Nani?
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I just want to thank all the department heads, the mayor's office and her staff, and quite frankly, all my colleagues for all the work that we all put into developing this budget. This is not a perfect budget, but it's the end result of discussions, compromise, consensus that in the end produced this document, which I believe moves the city forward. Here are my thoughts on some of the key aspects of the budget. I'm glad to see that the administration is fully funding our summer youth program. We see what's happening during the pandemic, how our kids not having access to recreational or after school programs. There's violence out in the community. We need to fund these programs to give them something productive and recreational to do. I'm also glad to see the administration is listening to the common council members, many of my colleagues when we first came in, talking about not just a minimum wage, but a living wage. And I'm glad to see that the administration listened. And now we're going to make sure that every city employee who's working full-time and part-time non-union employee is receiving $15.52, which is a step in the right direction. When you look at the individuals during this pandemic who rather go on unemployment and receive better pay than to work, that there's something that government needs to do when that is the general sentiment that many people are feeling. So I'm glad that we're able to pay full-time and part-time staffers a living wage here in our city. The budget presented before us too is remarkable considering the initial projections, right? A couple of months ago, the administration came in front of us where we were looking to make cuts at several departments. I mean, there were even discussions about common council members taking pay cuts and staffers leaving. So I'm glad that no cuts are being made as it relates to staff or across the board. At the same time, the administration made some critical investments, $7.5 million commitment to reconstruct our streets and sidewalks across the city. This is an increase from last year, 2019 budget. This is an additional $2 million into infrastructure. You see in many neighborhoods in our city where they have like wooden pipes and with our old and aging infrastructure. So it's always great to see commitments being made to make sure that our streets are being paved and our sidewalks are being improved. This budget also includes investments of approximately $7 million to fund transformative projects similar to the Skyway project. And I think it's going to have a ripple effect all across the city where individuals are going to want to invest in downtown. Quite frankly, look, the city of Albany is competing with the capital region, with the rest of the cities. And when you look at our downtown compared to Troy, Schenectady, Saratoga, we have a long way to go. But moving forward, I believe our city is going to be the #1 downtown in all of the capital region. And it's because of investments like this that we're making. And it's also backed by investments of $5 million in state grants. However, as good as this sounds, we're not out of the woods yet. This budget is still contingent on the federal government doing the right thing and providing our state and city with the funding that we deserve. My hope is with this new president, thank God, who's going to be inaugurated, an aid package will be coming in and we can avoid drastic mid-year budget reductions. While this budget is a step in the right direction, there are some things that I felt was really missing, and I'm going to continue to advocate for this and work with the administration and the rest of my colleagues to make sure that we invest in the development of municipal internet service. We see how schools are going remote, how essential, and now we're starting to realize how essential internet service is to educating our children. the school district came out with a report a couple of months ago where they said that 40% of families in the school district don't have access to reliable internet. When the private sector fails to act, government must intervene. Spectrum Greed has made zero commitments into providing basic, unaffordable, and reliable internet to the residents of the city. And when the private sector fails to act, government must intervene. Albany needs to do more to help our kids to get connected. The digital divide that exists in this city is unconscionable. And that is not even factoring the reality that an increasing amount of business and jobs are increasingly relying on conducting business online. Whether you're applying for a job with the city school district or applying for a job with the city, you need access to the internet. Whether you want to report a quality of life issue, see, click, fix, you need access to the internet. Whether you want to do homework or do research, you need access to the internet. Whether you need to look for job opportunities, you need access to the internet. You want to start a business, you need access to the internet. And there are some that believe that individuals need to tie themselves up by their own bootstraps. But with this digital divide, if we continue to move forward, we are leaving a whole generation and families of Albany residents in the dark. And we are in the 21st century, and we need to act like it. We need to support municipal internet. It is not just enough to talk about equity, but we have to put money towards addressing one of the biggest equity issues where we have here in our city, where a huge segment of our population don't have access to the internet. Hopefully with the changes in national leadership come January 20th, we will be in a better position to lobby for more federal aid to expand the internet access in our city. Factoring all of this in, I voted for the City of Albany budget, not because it's a perfect document, but despite its imperfection, it strives to move the city forward, especially as we navigate the worst challenges we have seen in over a century. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Nani. Further discussion? Seeing none, can the clerk please call the roll?
Nani,
Yes.
Valorant,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Fahey,
Yes.
Farrell,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Frederick,
Yes.
Hoey,
Yes.
Igo,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Kimbrough,
Yes.
Love,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
15 in the affirmative.
Resolution passes. Moving on to resolutions held. Ms. Farrell.
And just a point of order question. Can I ask for the 4 resolutions withdrawals all at once?
Yes, just state their number and
Thank you, Mr. President. I notice resolution number 96102.20R, resolution 97.102.20R, resolution 98.102.20R, and resolution 100.102.20R, and ask for their withdrawal.
thank you.
And now, Mr. President, I notice resolution number 99.102.20R and ask for its passage.
Thank you. Can the clerk please read the resolution?
Danielle, you're still muted.
Hilarious. A resolution of the Common Council establishing a capital reserve fund to be known as the Information Technology Equipment Fund.
Is there any discussion on this resolution? Ms. Duche?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I just want to note that this is a new era, a new development in the city, that we are establishing a reserve fund to actually put away funds for anticipated expenditures in the future, in this case, for technology infrastructure that will be crucial to the city. We know that we will be needing it, and so we are, as opposed to borrowing, we are looking to set aside some funds each year so that we will be prepared for the purchases we need to make in a few years for that purpose. So I applaud the administration for moving in that direction. And it's a great thing for us to be doing as a city for our fiscal health.
Thank you, Mr. Shea. Any further comments? Mr. Ballard?
I just wanted to follow up on those comments. I think it also shows how we've come a long way when we were, you know, and it puts us in a much better financial situation so that we no longer borrow for police vehicles and other maintenance products that we know we're going to be needing, and we know you know, it's going to be an annual expense. So I think it puts us in a much better position. It shows how we've grown and how we've straightened our budget and made some tough decisions to get here. And I commend you know, Councilwoman Doche and all those other council members that have been pushing for this, you know, for years now, and the administration for you know, getting us here. So thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other further comments, can the clerk please call the roll?
Anani,
Yes.
Valorant,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
Doshette,
Yes, co-sponsor, please.
Fahey,
Yes.
Farrell,
Co-sponsor, please, yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Frederick,
Yes.
Bowie,
Yes.
Igo,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Kimbrough,
Yes.
Love, Love,
I don't see her either.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
14 in the affirmative.
Resolution passes. Mr. Kimbrough? You have the one to withdraw, I believe.
You already did that one.
Oh, we already withdrew it? Okay. Oh, did Jenny do it? Did Ms. Farrell do it when she did it?
I think he was changing resolution 102, 111,
yeah.
20, changing the committee that it was sent to.
Yes. I can't, you gotta unmute yourself.
Kelly, you're muted. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I was just gonna do it at the end, but this is fine. Last week in error, I sent resolution 102, 111, 20R to, not last week, our last council meeting. Sorry about that. It was sent to council operations when it should have gone to general services. This is correcting that. It's referred to general services. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Kimbrough, hold on. Mr. Kimbrough?
We got one left by Ms. Farrell.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Ms. Farrell, this
103, it's the last one.
Thank you, Mr. President. I notice resolution number 103.111.20R and ask for its passage.
Can the clerk please read the resolution, please?
A resolution of the Common Council consenting to the creation of 5 full-time positions, which will affect salary totals for the 2020 budget.
Is there any discussion on this resolution? Ms. Farrell?
I just want to note that these salaries are fully grant funded, and we'll be doing quite a bit of help for our community for the 3 years that we have the grant, and hopefully it will be continued past that.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, can the clerk please call the roll?
Anani,
Yes.
Valorem,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
Doshette,
Yes.
Fahey,
Yes.
Farrell, Flynn,
Yes.
Frederick,
Yes.
Hoey,
Yes.
Igo,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Kimbrough.
Yes.
Has Love rejoined us?
I don't see her.
Not that I see.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
14 in the affirmative.
Resolution passes. Ms. Farrow, I think we have Commissioner of Deeds.
Yes, we do. Are we at the miscellaneous section?
Yes, we are.
Woohoo!
Oh, Mr. Kimbrough, sorry. Mr. Kimbrough?
Yeah, what, for the Commissioner of Deeds?
No, for the holding of the rest.
Oh, yes, the rest of resolutions on the agenda are held.
Thank you, Mr. Kimbrough. Now, Mrs. Farrow.
Thank you, Mr. President. I offer the following persons be hereby appointed Commissioners of Deeds for the City of Albany, New York for the term ending December 31st, 2020, and waive the reading of the names.
Do we have a second on that motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. No extensions. Thank you. Ms. Duche.
So miscellaneous. So I just want to take a moment and congratulate Ms. Farrell for surviving budget season and getting a lot of bond issues passed at the same time and doing so with a great deal of retaining her sense of humor and graciousness throughout the entire process. I know that it can be complex and frustrating. I think that you handled the entire situation admirably. And I look forward to more Finance Committee meetings with you as chair.
Thank you, Judy. I appreciate that.
Robinson.
So I want to echo the sentiments of my colleague Judy Deshay. Again, Councilwoman Farrell, you did a marvelous job. This job of being the finance chair is not an easy thing. And I think even being on the finance committee is not an easy task. But I do thank all of my colleagues who sit on the finance committee for all their hard work and effort. And I just want to just make a quick comment about the mayor's budget. This was one of the most equitable budgets to date. And I want to thank the mayor for taking the time out to listen to the concerns of the council members, as well as the members of the community as to what they wanted to see during this budget process.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. Mr. Ballerin?
After those comments from my colleagues, I want to thank the chair, Ms. Farrell, and all our committee members, all those members who are not on the committee but still attended regularly. We've had some very long nights. We had some very spirited discussion. I think it's a difficult budget because of all the uncertainty that we're facing. But it's a fair budget for the situation we're in. So I thank the administration for putting that forward. I thank the council members for working on that and addressing the issues and concerns that they brought up. And I look forward to working with all my colleagues and the administration on fighting to make sure we get our fair share of federal aid and state aid, because we have been very, responsive, and we have been very responsible with our budget. If you look how much we're spending today, we're spending just a little bit more than we were spending 5 years ago. That shows you that we have been very cautious with our spending line. So the idea that, municipalities like ours are being wasteful is just, foolish. When you look at the numbers and you look at how we've been consistently cautious with our spending. The aid that we need to fight for is aid that our residents deserve because they are paying into it. So, it's not a bailout. Every resident gets taxes taken out of their paycheck every week, every bi-weekly. So we are paying for these for aid to go when it's needed. So it's not a blue issue, it's not a red issue. When any state takes a hit, we're there for them. And New York State was the epicenter. We've lost more lives than anybody else in this pandemic. The way that we're treating people was tested on our residents, on our citizens in our city and in our state. So we deserve the aid to come to ease the burden on our cities and state. So I look forward to that fight that we will have, and hopefully it won't be as bad as we can imagine. Hopefully our federal leaders will see that we as Americans come together and aid each other, no matter what our political affiliation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. You're still muted, Mr. O'Brien. You gotta unmute yourself.
I also want to thank the Finance Committee, which I'm a member of, and Jenny for chairing it. I virtually regard Judy as the co-chair because she still does a tremendous amount of work.
She said co-chair.
But it definitely was a collective work, not only with members of the Finance Committee, with the members of the whole council, and with the folks from the budget office. They were there for every meeting, the treasurer's office, and the various departments. So it was a collective process, and I think people are listening, and hopefully good things will come. COVID will go away with a vaccine and good behavior, and we'll be back to normal and realizing our savings and just being much better. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Mr. Anani?
Thank you, Mr. President. I made my remarks on the budget already, but I would be remiss if I didn't touch on the incident that happened with the racist police officer last week, with the video that were made aware to all of us on the council, and also the transcript of the remarks. I want to thank my colleagues for supporting, the sign-on letter requesting action administration and also the police chief to get rid of this police officer. We have zero tolerance for individuals in our city who are racist, who have biases against African-American communities or any marginalized or group. So I want to thank my colleagues for supporting this, supporting the resolution, the letter asking for the police officer to be fired. The racist comments by Officer Hopt made clearly demonstrates that his bias against African Americans, which we all believe, and I believe, that compromise his ability to protect and serve our members of the public. We cannot have an officer on the street who potentially look at every African American resident in our city as a potential suspect as a result of his blatantly racist views. And quite frankly, I think we need to go a step further. Instead of just to dismiss him, we need to actually echo some sentiment to the district attorney to review every single arrest that this officer has made, particularly when it comes to dealing with African Americans in our city. This type of behavior is unacceptable. And I hope that moving forward, the police collaborative and the community with the governor's executive order, that we come up with some serious reforms because this racism that within the police department, that individuals feel comfortable in sharing with a law enforcement partner, it's not just a mistake. I believe that this is systemic, and we have to root out this systemic racism that exists. Of course, the police department, there are some members who do some great things in our neighborhood. I walk with the police officers every summer around the neighborhood to introduce them to neighbors, to tell neighbors, listen, this is someone that you can trust. This is someone that you can go to. But when you have someone within the police department making racially biased charge remarks towards a huge segment of our population, we cannot stand still. And I'm glad that all my colleagues, acted promptly. And I know that it was not easy for some members. I know some members of this council have family members within the police department. And I believe I want to thank you all, because injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And this action clearly demonstrates, and I hope everyone who works for the city understands that this type of racist remarks have no place within our city or anywhere in our society. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hoey?
Yeah, I just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. This is going to be a rough one, as you know. Family members should be kept low. This COVID virus is really bad. And just to let people know, in the upstate area, Upstate Medical is one of the schools that I take care of. They're really reaching epidemic numbers. So just stay safe over the holidays, and hope to see everybody after. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hoy, for that.
Thank you, Tom. I hope you don't have to sleep in that car tonight.
Joe. Mr. Kimbrough?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Meeting adjourned.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy